Hi everybody, welcome to our first virtual AP Government class. Today's topic is Marbury v. Madison. For your homework, you need to be turning in your bureaucracy reflection, please. We've set up a place for you to do that in Google Classroom. And you have that judicial study guide and vocabulary to work on that we gave you right before we left. So what we're going to look at today is again Marbury v. Madison, which is one of your required court cases. And before we get to that, let's just start with a reflection and a little review of the things we've talked about with the judicial branch already. So first up, what is the difference between the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction and its appellate jurisdiction? The Supreme Court is unique because it is the only federal court that has both of these types of jurisdiction. So when we're talking about the Supreme Court, it has the original jurisdiction to hear cases for the first time. Those are specified in Article 3 of the Constitution. So it's only certain cases that the Supreme Court gets to hear under its original jurisdiction. For example, when one state sues another state, Article 3 of the Constitution specifically says the Supreme Court gets to hear that case first. Those cases are rare. Most Supreme Court cases are going to come from the second type of jurisdiction, which is appellate jurisdiction. After an appeals court at the federal level has made a decision, many people or groups will appeal that decision to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gets to choose which types of court cases it hears, and we'll get more into that later on this week. This is important because every federal court, not just the Supreme Court, has the power of judicial review. And essentially this means that a court can say that something Congress or the President or executive branch does is unconstitutional. Why does that matter? Well, if something is unconstitutional, then it's void. The government is not allowed to do it anymore. That's what Marbury v. Madison is all about. This is the court case that is going to lead to the courts gaining the power of judicial review. So every federal court, no matter what level they're at, is going to have the power of judicial review. Now, Article 3 of the Constitution that we read last week, if you read it carefully, you should have noticed that judicial review was nowhere to be found in Article 3, and that's because it's not there. If you read the whole thing, you will not see the phrase or any reference to the power to declare a law unconstitutional in Article 3 of the Constitution. It is, however, mentioned in Federalist 78, written by Alexander Hamilton. And if you go back to your big giant document packet and look at Federalist 78, you will find this phrase where Hamilton writes that it is going to be the job of the judicial branch to declare acts of the other branches of government unconstitutional. And Hamilton says that this is going to allow the courts to protect the rights of the people. But Marbury v. Madison is the court case in which the Supreme Court essentially grants itself the power of judicial review, thereby taking what's in Federalist 78 and actually injecting it into our constitutional system of checks and balances. So that's what you're going to be doing. We have a reading for you that's posted on Google Classroom, and it's also something that you got a hard copy of last week. I want you to use that reading and then also watch the video that we're going to post and use those two resources to complete your capture sheet for Marbury v. Madison, which is in your big giant document packet. Once you do that, come on back later today for our first live stream Q&A session, and we'll go over any issues that you have and help you make sure that you understand the case. Thanks for coming to class, and good luck with the work for today. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow.